High Counselor Yoonji stepped off her shuttle and onto the deck of the Eternal Horizon. She was the first alien to walk these halls in over 600 years. The ship felt different from anything she knew. Older, sadder, filled with ghosts. Lieutenant Jae-hwan met her at the airlock. He looked tired, like he carried the weight of worlds on his shoulders. Behind him stood Min Seo and Dr. Young-ho, both watching the alien visitors with cautious eyes. "Thank you for coming," Jae-hwan said simply. Yoonji looked around the corridor. The walls were scarred with damage from ancient battles. Some panels still showed blast marks. "This ship has seen war. This ship has seen the end of everything," Jae-hwan replied. "Come, let me show you what we fought for." He led them through the carrier to a chamber deep in the ship's core. It was a memorial room, filled with holographic displays. Images of Earth floated in the air. Green oceans, blue skies, cities that touched the clouds, a planet that no longer existed. "This was our home," Jae-hwan said quietly. 12 billion people lived there. Artists, scientists, farmers, teachers, children, all gone. Yoonji watched the images cycle. She saw humans laughing, working, living ordinary lives. They looked so normal, so much like her own people. Not monsters, just people who had loved and lost. "Show her the rest," Min Seo said. Jae-hwan nodded. The holograms changed. Now they showed the enemy, the void. It was hard to look at, hard to understand. It was like looking at reality breaking apart, at the universe screaming in pain. "This is what humanity fought," Dr. Young-ho explained. "An extra-dimensional entity that fed on matter and energy. It appeared without warning 20 years before the final battle. We tried to communicate. We tried to understand, but it only wanted to consume." The images showed battles across dozens of systems. Human ships fighting an enemy that bent the laws of physics. Planets vanishing into tears in space. Colonies evacuated as dimensional breaches spread. "We couldn't stop it," Jae-hwan continued. "We could only slow it down. So humanity made a choice. We would seal the breaches, trap the void between dimensions. But the cost was everything. Earth had to be sacrificed, its mass, its gravity well used as an anchor point for the dimensional seal. Everyone knew," Min Seo added. "Every person on Earth knew they would die. But they did it anyway, so the rest of the galaxy could live." Yoonji felt tears on her face. She had come here expecting monsters, conquerors, threats. Instead, she found martyrs. Heroes who had given everything and been forgotten. "Why didn't we know?" she whispered. "Why don't our records show this?" "Because you were just beginning your space age when this happened," Young-ho answered. "Your people were still exploring your own solar system. You didn't have the technology to detect the void or understand what was happening. We fought alone, and when we won, the galaxy moved on without us." Dayun's voice filled the room. "High Counselor, there is something else you must know. The seals are failing." The hologram changed again. This time it showed dimensional readings, energy spikes, small tears in reality at the edge of explored space. "In approximately 23 years, the void will break through again." Dayun continued. "This time there are no humans to stop it. No Earth to sacrifice. The galaxy will have to stand together or fall separately." Yoonji looked at Jae-hwan. "Is this true?" "Dayun doesn't lie. The enemy is coming back. We don't have the resources to stop it alone. We're 800 people on a ship that's held together by Dayun's will and Min Seo's engineering. We need help. What do you need?" "We need the galaxy to stop being afraid of us. We need allies. We need time to repair this ship and train new crews. And eventually, we need to find out if there are more humans in cryosleep on other derelict ships. We can't be the only survivors." Yoonji made her decision. "I'll bring this to the coalition. I can't promise they'll listen, but I'll try." Before she could say more, alarms blared. On every ship in the system, sensors detected the same thing. A massive energy spike. Something was coming through hyperspace. All ships, battle stations. Someone screamed on the open channel. But Jae-hwan was already running to the bridge. He slid into the captain's chair and brought up the sensor displays. What he saw made his heart stop. Ships were emerging from hyperspace. Dozens of them. But they weren't coalition vessels. They weren't Kryn or any species the modern galaxy knew. They were human ships. Dayun. "Confirm identification." "Confirmed. UNSC Destroyer Brave Wind. UNSC Frigate Morning Star. UNSC Medical Ship Mercy. 15 vessels total, all human designs. They are broadcasting old emergency codes. More survivors," Min Seo whispered. The lead ship, the destroyer Brave Wind, sent a transmission. The voice was rough, exhausted. This is Commander Taman of the Brave Wind. We detected your power signature from 3 systems away. Thought we were hallucinating. Please tell me this is real." "This is real," Jae-Hwan replied, his voice breaking. "You're not alone anymore. How many?" 847 on this ship. "How many do you have?" "Across all our ships? Maybe 2,000. We've been running on empty for years, jumping from dead system to dead system, looking for supplies, looking for anyone." Around the bridge, crew members were crying. They weren't the last. They weren't alone. Somewhere in the darkness, other humans had survived. Over the next hours, more transmissions came in. Another battle group detected the signals. A colony ship that had been drifting for centuries. A science vessel that had hidden in a nebula. By the end of the day, they had found over 5,000 survivors. It wasn't much. It wasn't even a fraction of what they had lost. But it was hope. General Wu Jin sat in his cell, stripped of rank and under arrest for using forbidden weapons. He watched the news feeds and felt shame burn through him. The humans weren't enemies. They were victims trying to survive. And he had tried to murder them. High Counselor Yoonji returned to the Coalition Assembly with new purpose. She showed them everything. The truth about the Void War. The sacrifices humanity made. The threat that was returning. "We have a choice," she told the gathered representatives. "We can continue to fear them or we can stand with them. In 20 years the enemy returns. What will we choose?" The vote wasn't unanimous. Some species still feared human technology. Some wanted to take the human ships by force. But enough voted yes. Enough chose hope over fear. 6 months later, the Eternal Horizon looked different. Coalition engineers worked alongside Minseo's team, repairing damage that Daun couldn't fix alone. The ship would never be fully repaired, but it was functional. More importantly, it was home. Sora walked through the corridors with new friends. Alien children who had learned to see humans as people, not monsters. She taught them Earth music. They taught her their languages. It was a small thing, but small things mattered. Dr. Young-ho established a research institute in one of the carrier's science bays. Scientists from a dozen species worked there, studying human technology and teaching humans about the modern galaxy. Jiho became humanity's ambassador. She spoke at gatherings explaining human history and culture. Slowly, the galaxy began to understand what had been lost and what could be saved. Lieutenant Jae-Hwan stood on the bridge of the Eternal Horizon. Through the windows, he could see a fleet unlike anything in history. Human ships flying alongside coalition vessels. 1,000 ships bearing a new symbol. A circle representing the galaxy, protected by hands reaching inward from all sides. They called it the United Species Defense Coalition. Dayun, status report. All systems operational. The fleet is ready for deployment. We have detected the first dimensional breach at Sector 774. Initial analysis suggests void presence. It had been 23 years, just as predicted. The enemy was back, but this time the galaxy was ready. All ships, this is Jae-Hwan. Today we face the same enemy that killed Earth. The same darkness that took everything from us. But we don't face it alone. Humanity and the Coalition stand together. We will not run. We will not hide. We will fight and we will win. Across the fleet, humans and aliens prepared for battle. Subin's daughter, a pilot like her mother, led a wing of mixed human and alien fighters. Minseo coordinated with Coalition engineers to maximize shield effectiveness. Young-ho worked with alien scientists to find the Void's weaknesses. The Eternal Horizon jumped into hyperspace, leading the fleet toward the breach. Behind them, more ships joined the formation. Thousands of vessels representing hundreds of species, united against a common threat. In the memorial chamber, holographic images of Earth still floated peacefully. A reminder of what was lost and what they fought to protect. Jae-Hwan looked at his crew. Humans and aliens working side by side. It wasn't the galaxy he had left behind. It was something better. "Ready?" Minseo asked. "Ready," he confirmed. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the breach. The Void waited, hungry and terrible. But for the first time in history, the galaxy stood united. Humanity had awakened not to conquer but to protect. Not to rule but to serve. The supercarrier that had slept for centuries became a symbol of hope, and the galaxy would never forget again. The battle began, and humanity, nearly extinct, nearly forgotten, proved once more why they had been worth saving. Because when darkness came, humans didn't run. They lit candles and called them stars. Captain Subin sat in her fighter, hands trembling. She had been a pilot before the long sleep, one of the best in the fleet. But that was 600 years ago. Now she was the commander of a wing that didn't exist, flying fighters that barely worked against an enemy that outnumbered them hundreds to one. All wings, this is Subin. I know you're scared. I'm scared too. But those people out there think we're monsters. Let's show them what human pilots can really do. In the launch bay, 60 fighters powered up. They were old, damaged, held together by repairs Daun had made over centuries. But they were still human-made, still the deadliest starfighters ever built. Launch when ready. Lieutenant Jaehwan's voice came through the comm. Remember, disable only. We're not here to kill. Subin's fighter shot out of the launch bay like a bullet. The acceleration would have killed most alien pilots. Humans had always built their machines to push the limits of what flesh and bone could endure. Behind her, 59 more fighters joined the formation. On the coalition ships, sensors went crazy. The small craft moved faster than anything they had ever tracked. They dodged and weaved in patterns that seemed impossible. General Wu Jin watched the display in disbelief. What are those things? Fighters, sir. Single pilot craft. Impossible. Nothing that small should be able to move like that. But they did. Subin led her wing straight through the coalition formation. Her targeting computer locked onto engine ports and weapon systems. She fired, and a Kryn destroyer's main guns went offline. Around her, other pilots did the same. They were surgical, precise, devastating. They're not even trying, someone on the coalition command deck whispered. Inside the eternal horizon, Mincio worked frantically to keep the shields online. Every hit drained power. Every shot they fired drew from reserves that wouldn't last forever. We can't keep this up, she told Jaehwan. We're running on emergency power. One good hit to our main reactor and we're done. How long can you give me? Maybe an hour. Maybe less, Jaehwan nodded. An hour would have to be enough. Dr. Young-ho, the ship's xenobiologist, was having the strangest day of his life. He had woken up 600 years in the future, discovered humanity was extinct, and now he was analyzing alien technology while a battle raged outside. These ships are primitive, he told Jaehwan over the comm. Not in a bad way, just different. They focused on different technologies than we did. Their shields are strong but slow to adapt. Their weapons are powerful but lack targeting precision. Can we use that? Already am. I'm feeding targeting data to Subin's wing. They'll know exactly where to hit for maximum effect with minimum damage. Outside, the battle continued. But it wasn't really a battle. It was a lesson. The humans were teaching the galaxy what 600 years of lost technology looked like. High Counselor Yoonji made her decision. Get me a secure line to that ship now. Jiho received the transmission. Lieutenant, the coalition leader wants to talk. Put her through. Yoonji's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired and worried. Lieutenant Jaehwan, I am High Counselor Yoonji. Please stop this. No more ships need to be damaged. Tell your general to stand down. General Wu Jin operates independently, but I can try. Will you agree to a ceasefire? Jaehwan looked at his crew. They were exhausted, running on adrenaline and desperation. We never wanted to fight. We just want to be left in peace. I understand. But you must understand our position. Your ship appears from nowhere with weapons beyond our comprehension. We're afraid. You're afraid? We're 800 people against a galaxy. How do you think we feel? The honesty in his voice seemed to surprise Yoonji. Then let us talk. Face to face. I'll come to your ship with a diplomatic team. No weapons, no tricks. Before Jaehwan could answer, alarms blared. Dayun's voice cut through the bridge. Detecting unauthorized weapons launch. Source General Wu Jin's flagship. On the screen, they saw it. A missile, but different from the others. Bigger, faster, and the energy signature was wrong. That's an antimatter warhead, Mincio gasped. A direct hit will destroy us completely. Wu Jin, you fool. Yoonji screamed into her comm. Stand down immediately. But the general wasn't listening. He had seen his fleet humiliated. He had watched human fighters dance through his formations. His pride couldn't take it. If he couldn't capture the human ship, he would destroy it. Subin saw the missile launch. Her fighter was the closest. She ran the calculations in her head. The missile was too fast. Her weapons couldn't stop it in time. But maybe she could. Subin, no. Jaehwan shouted, reading her intentions. Tell my pilots they did good, she said calmly. Then she pushed her fighter to maximum burn, accelerating directly toward the missile. The collision happened in silence. In space, there was no sound, but everyone saw the flash. Subin's fighter slammed into the antimatter missile at full speed. The explosion was blinding, a miniature sun that burned for 3 seconds and then died. Captain Subin died saving 800 people she had just met, died saving a ship that was falling apart. Died because that's what humans did. They protected others even when it cost everything. The bridge was silent. Jae-hwan felt something break inside him. Another person lost. Another sacrifice. How many more would die before this was over? Then he felt anger. Pure cold anger. Daeun, target General Woo Jin's flagship. Main guns, sir? Daeun's voice was uncertain. Target is weapons only. I want him alive to answer for what he did. The Eternal Horizon's main plasma cannons fired. The bolts crossed the distance in seconds. They hit Woo Jin's flagship with perfect accuracy, destroying every weapon system but leaving the crew alive. This is Lieutenant Jae-hwan to all coalition forces. One of your own just used a forbidden weapon against us. We could destroy every ship here. We could glass your home planets. We have the power. But we won't. Because unlike some of you, we don't kill out of fear or pride. He paused, letting his words carry across every channel. Captain Subin just died saving this ship. She didn't know any of you. She had no reason to care about your politics or your fears. But she died anyway because that's what humans do. We protect. We sacrifice. We fight for those who can't fight for themselves. On the coalition command ship, Yoon-ji listened with tears in her eyes. She had spent decades in politics dealing with lies and manipulation. But there was no lie in Jae-hwan's voice. Only truth and grief. 600 years ago, humanity fought a war to save this galaxy, Jae-hwan continued. We didn't fight for territory or resources. We fought because something evil was coming, and someone had to stop it. Earth died. Mars died. Every human colony died. Billions of people gave their lives so that species like yours could exist and grow. He brought up data files, broadcasting them to every ship, records of the Void War, images of Earth's last days, footage of the final battle where humanity made its stand. We didn't come here to conquer. We came here because we had nowhere else to go. We are refugees in a galaxy we saved, and you treat us like invaders. Dr. Young-ho had found something in the old files. He brought it to Jae-hwan's attention. Lieutenant, you need to see this. Dan detected something. Not now, Doctor. This can't wait. The seals. The dimensional seals humanity created to stop the void. They're failing. Jae-hwan felt his blood run cold. How long? Daeun estimates 20 to 30 years before the breaches open again. He looked at the coalition fleet, at the hundreds of ships that had come to destroy them. None of them knew what was coming. They had forgotten the enemy that had nearly destroyed the galaxy once before. High Counselor Yoon-ji, Jae-hwan said quietly. You wanted to talk. I accept. Come to my ship. Bring your best scientists and military leaders. What I have to tell you concerns everyone in this galaxy. In a small station on the edge of Coalition space, a teenage girl named Sora watched the broadcasts. She had been 14 when she went into cryosleep, running from an enemy she didn't understand. Now she was still 14, but the world had moved on without her. She recorded a message and sent it to every public channel she could find. My name is Sora. I'm human. I like music and books and stars. I'm scared and alone and I don't understand what's happening. We're not monsters. We're just people who lost everything. Please give us a chance. The message was simple, honest, heartbreaking. It spread across the galaxy faster than any military broadcast, because it wasn't a warrior or a politician speaking. It was a child asking for hope. And slowly, very slowly, the galaxy began to listen. The news traveled faster than light itself. Within hours, every major civilization in the galaxy knew about the human ship. In government chambers, military headquarters, and academic institutions, the reaction was the same. Fear. High Counselor Yoon-ji of the Galactic Coalition sat in her office, watching reports flood in from every corner of known space. She was a Kellian, a species known for their calm thinking and diplomatic skills. But today, even she felt afraid. Show me the footage again, she told her assistant. The hologram displayed the Eternal Horizon rising from the dead planet. The ship was enormous, larger than any vessel the Coalition had ever built. Its weapons had disabled 2 Kryn gunships in less than a second. The power readings were impossible. How many of these ships do they have? Someone asked during the emergency council session. We don't know, Yoon-ji admitted. We don't know anything about them. General Wu Jin of the Kryn military stood up. He was a warrior from a proud race, and he didn't like being afraid. We should destroy it now while we have the chance. Send every fleet we have, and if there are more ships, Yunji countered. What if this is just one vessel from a fleet of thousands? The council chamber fell silent. It was the question everyone was thinking, but nobody wanted to ask. An old historian named Dong Hyun spoke up. He was nearly 200 years old and had spent his life studying ancient civilizations. I have found references to humans in our oldest records. They appear briefly in historical texts and then vanish around 600 years ago. What do the records say about them? Yunji asked. Very little. But there are mentions of something called the Old War. The records are incomplete, but they suggest humans were fighting someone. The texts describe weapons of terrible power and battles that scarred entire systems. Who were they fighting? General Wu Jin demanded. The records don't say. The information was lost or deliberately erased. On board the Eternal Horizon, Lieutenant Jae Hwan was learning the same history from a different perspective. Dayun had accessed what remained of the ship's databanks and was showing him what happened after they went to sleep. Earth is gone, Dayun said simply. The void broke through our defenses 6 months after we jumped away. The enemy consumed the entire solar system. Jae Hwan stared at the data in disbelief. His home, his planet, everything he had known was gone. Erased from existence. What about the other colonies? Mars, Europa, the outer settlements? All gone. Humanity made one final stand. Every ship, every soldier, every civilian fought. They managed to seal the dimensional breach, but the cost was total extinction. Jiho, the communications specialist, entered the bridge. She was young, barely 20 when she went into cryosleep. Now she was the only person who had managed to decode the alien transmissions flooding the airwaves. Lieutenant, I've broken their encryption. You need to hear this. She played the recordings. The voices were alien, but the translation software worked well enough. Fear. That's all Jae Hwan heard. Fear in every transmission. The galaxy was terrified of them. They think we're here to conquer them, Jiho said quietly. That's insane. We don't even have 1,000 people. They don't know that. They see a massive warship with weapons beyond their technology. They remember the old stories about the old war. Minseo arrived with her damage report. We're in bad shape. I can give you shields and weapons, but not both. Engines are working, but one wrong hit and we're dead in space. Jae Hwan looked at his crew. 800 people against an entire galaxy. The odds were impossible. Dayun, can we outrun them? For a time. But they will follow. We have nowhere to hide, Lieutenant. We are the last humans in the universe. The word settled over the bridge like a heavy blanket. Last. The word felt too big, too final. Then we talk to them, Jae Hwan decided. We tell them the truth. We explain what happened. And if they don't believe us? Minseo asked. Then we run. But I'm tired of running. Humanity ran from the void for 20 years. We ran until there was nowhere left to go. I won't run anymore. He ordered Jiho to open a channel to every ship, every station, every listening post in range. If he was going to tell humanity's story, he wanted the whole galaxy to hear it. But before he could speak, Da-un detected 3 fleets jumping into the system. They arrived from different directions, coordinating their approach. 400 ships total, representing every major power in the coalition. General Wu Jin commanded one of the fleets. He looked at the human ship on his screens and felt his confidence return. 400 ships against 1. The numbers were in his favor. All vessels assume attack formation, he ordered. Prepare to fire on my command. On the Eternal Horizon, alarms blared. Jae Hwan watched the enemy ships surround them. There was no escape. They were outmanned and trapped. Sir, they're charging weapons, Jiho reported. Shields up. Weapons online, but do not fire unless fired upon. Minseo looked at him like he was crazy. We can't fight 400 ships, I know. That's why we're not going to. He opened the communication channel. His voice broadcast across every frequency, translated into every known language. My name is Lieutenant Jae Hwan of the United Nations Space Command. We are not your enemy. 600 years ago, my people fought to protect this galaxy from an enemy you have forgotten. We sacrificed everything. Earth is gone. Humanity is gone. We are all that remains. He paused, letting his words sink in. We don't want to fight. We have no home to return to, no empire to rebuild. We are 800 survivors asking for a chance to exist. Please don't make us defend ourselves. For a moment, nothing happened. Then General Wu Jin spoke. Humanity's time is over. Surrender your ship or be destroyed. I can't do that, Jae-hwan replied. This ship is our home now. It's all we have left. Then you leave me no choice. The first missiles launched, hundreds of them, streaking across space toward the eternal horizon. Jae-hwan closed his eyes for a moment, thinking of everyone who had died to protect this galaxy, everyone who would never know if their sacrifice mattered. Da-yoon, show them why they should have listened. The eternal horizon's point defense systems came online. Every turret, every laser, every weapon that had been designed to fight an enemy that could warp reality itself. Against conventional missiles, they were unstoppable. Not a single missile reached the ship. They died in space, vaporized by weapons the galaxy had never seen. All ships, evasive action, General Wu Jin shouted, but it was too late. The eternal horizon's main gun spoke. Plasma bolts that could crack a planet's crust fired in rapid succession. They didn't aim to kill. Jae-hwan had given strict orders. But they hit with devastating precision. Engines exploded. Shield generators overloaded. Weapons systems went offline. In 30 seconds, the Eternal Horizon disabled 40 coalition ships without destroying a single one. The remaining fleet stopped advancing. On the coalition command ship, High Counselor Yoonji watched in horror. The human ship had barely tried, and it had crippled an entire wing. What would happen if it actually fought? General, cease fire, she ordered. Immediately, but that's an order. The shooting stopped. In the silence that followed, everyone in the galaxy realized the same thing. Humanity might be nearly extinct, but they were still the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever known. And now they were awake. Lieutenant Jae-hwan opened his eyes for the first time in 600 years. The world was cold and blurry. Lights flashed above him. Something beeped nearby. He tried to move, but his muscles wouldn't respond. Panic rose in his chest. Stay calm, Lieutenant, a voice said. It was soft and female, coming from everywhere at once. Your body needs time to adjust. You have been in cryosleep for an extended period. Jae-hwan's vision slowly cleared. He was lying in a medical pod. Through the glass, he could see other pods opening. People were waking up just as confused as he was. Who are you? He managed to whisper. I am Admiral Da-yoon, the ship's artificial intelligence. Welcome back to consciousness. Memories flooded back. The war, the enemy that came from nowhere. Earth burning. The order to evacuate and jump to deep space. Then the cryopods. They were supposed to sleep for 2 years while the war was won. How long? Jae-hwan asked. Da-yoon was silent for a moment. 617 years, the words didn't make sense. They couldn't. Jae-hwan sat up, his body screaming in protest. Around him, other officers and crew were emerging from their pods. Everyone looked lost and afraid. A woman stumbled over to him. She wore an engineer's uniform. Her name tag read Minseo. What's happening? She asked. Where are we? Where's Earth? I don't know, Jae-hwan admitted. Da-yoon status report. The AI's voice filled the medical bay. The Eternal Horizon sustained critical damage in our final engagement. We emergency jumped to this system and crash-landed on the 3rd planet. Life support kept you alive while I conducted repairs. Recently, native inhabitants of this system discovered us and activated my core systems. Native inhabitants? Jae-hwan stood on shaky legs. What inhabitants? This system was supposed to be empty. 600 years is a long time, Lieutenant. The galaxy has changed. More crew members were waking up. Jae-hwan counted them quickly. Not enough. Far too few. Da-yoon, how many survived? 847 souls out of the original crew of 12,000. The number hit Jae-hwan like a physical blow. 12,000 people had boarded this ship. Only 800 remained. He had friends, family, people he cared about. Most of them were gone. I need to reach the bridge, he said, forcing himself to focus. Minseo, gather your engineering team. I need a full damage report. They moved through the corridors. Emergency lighting cast everything in red. The ship groaned around them like a living thing in pain. Jae-hwan had served on the Eternal Horizon for 3 years before the sleep. He knew every corridor, every room, but now it felt different. Older, sadder. The bridge was in better condition than he expected. Da-yoon had kept the critical systems maintained. Screens flickered to life as they entered. What Jae-hwan saw made his blood run cold. Ships surrounded them. Dozens of alien vessels in orbit. Their designs were strange. Nothing like the enemy they had been fighting. These were new. Da-yoon. Identify those ships. They belonged to the Kryn Empire, a spacefaring civilization that evolved after humanity's disappearance. They are attempting to breach our hull. Jae-hwan watched the screens. The alien ships were firing some kind of cutting lasers at the Eternal Horizon's armor. They weren't trying to destroy the ship. They were trying to break in. Are they hostile? Unknown. I have been unable to establish communication. However, they did trigger my awakening sequence by accident. Minseo arrived on the bridge with 3 other engineers. She looked at the damage reports and went pale. Lieutenant, this ship shouldn't be flying. Main power is at 12%. Half our systems are offline. The hull has 17 major breaches. We have no fighters in the launch bays. We're defenseless. We're never defenseless, Jae-hwan said. Da-eun, can you repair the communication systems? I want to talk to these people. Communication systems are online, but we face a problem. These beings speak languages that evolved after our time. I am attempting to create a translation matrix, but it will take time. Outside, one of the Kryn ships fired a missile at the Eternal Horizon. It was a small weapon, probably designed to blast open a door. Da-eun reacted instantly. A point defense laser vaporized the missile before it hit. On the Kryn ship, alarms started blaring. They hadn't expected the ancient ship to defend itself. Hold fire, Jae-hwan ordered. We don't want a war, but it was too late. The Kryn ships interpreted the defensive action as aggression. 2 gunships broke formation and accelerated toward the Eternal Horizon, weapons charging. Da-eun, what are they doing? Initiating attack run. Recommendations? Jae-hwan had seconds to decide. If he did nothing, they might board the ship. If he fought back, he might start a war with a species he didn't understand. But he had 800 people depending on him. People who had already lost everything. Disable them, non-lethal if possible. The Eternal Horizon's weapons had been designed to fight an enemy that could bend space and time. These Kryn ships might as well have been flying paper airplanes. Plasma turrets tracked the gunships with perfect accuracy. A single shot from each turret hit their engines. The Kryn vessels went dead in space. Crews alive but ships crippled. The remaining Kryn fleet backed away quickly. I think we got their attention, Minseo said quietly. Jae-hwan sat in the captain's chair. It was too big for him. This ship was meant to be commanded by Admiral Park, a woman who had died 600 years ago. Now he was in charge and he had no idea what he was doing. Da-eun, start repairs. Priority to shields and engines. Minseo, I need this ship ready to move. Move where? She asked. Earth is gone. Everyone we knew is dead. Where do we go? It was the question they were all thinking. Jae-hwan looked at the crew gathered on the bridge. They were scared and lost. They were the last humans in a galaxy that had forgotten them. We survive, he said finally. That's what we do. We survive and we figure out what happened to our home. Deep in the ship's core, Da-eun processed thousands of calculations per second. She had kept watch over her sleeping crew for 6 centuries. She had fought system failures and time itself to keep them alive. Now they were awake and she had to tell them the truth. Earth was dead. Humanity had fallen. The war they had fought was over and they had lost. But Da-eun could be patient. She would tell them eventually. For now, let them have hope. Hope was what humans needed most. Outside, more Kryn ships arrived. They kept their distance but watched carefully. Messages flew across their communication networks, spreading the news to other systems. The human ship was awake. In orbit above Terra 7, the Eternal Horizon began to move. Its engines, silent for centuries, roared to life. Rock and debris fell away as the massive carrier pulled itself free from the ground. Jae-hwan watched his homeworld through the screens. Terra 7. It had been called Earth once. Now it was a tomb covered in dust and ash. Take us up, he ordered. Take us home. The Eternal Horizon rose into the sky, a giant awakening from a long sleep. The galaxy watched in fear and wonder. Humanity had returned. Buried for centuries, the human Supercarrier Awakens. The galaxy is in panic. A 5-part HFY Sci-Fi Story outline Part 1. The excavation setting, the year is 2847 GST, Galactic Standard Time. The Kryn Empire, a dominant spacefaring civilization, conducts archaeological mining operations on the dead world of Terra 7, a planet buried under centuries of cosmic dust in the Outer Rim territories. The planet was once known as Earth but has been forgotten by galactic records. Key characters: Captain Hyun-woo, Kryn excavation team leader; ambitious and skeptical Dr. Bora; xenoarchaeologist. Curious and methodical Commander Taeyang, Kryn military overseer. Cautious and by-the-book plot points Kryn excavation. Teams discover massive metallic structures beneath the surface during routine mining operations. Initial scans reveal technology that predates known galactic civilization by at least 800 years against protocol. Yunwu orders deeper excavation, uncovering what appears to be a colossal warship entombed in solidified magma. The ship bears strange symbols that Dr. Bora identifies as belonging to humans, a species considered extinct or mythological. As excavation continues, dormant power signatures begin emanating from the vessel. The story ends with a catastrophic energy surge that kills 3 Kryn workers and sends a distress signal across multiple star systems. Part. The awakening key characters, new. Admiral Dayun, human supercarrier's AI consciousness. Ancient and calculating Lieutenant Jae Hwan, reanimated human officer from cryosleep. Disoriented but capable Minseo, chief engineer awakened from stasis. Pragmatic and resourceful plot points. The energy surge triggers automated revival protocols within the supercarrier. Designated UNSC Eternal Horizon deep within the ship. Cryogenic pods begin thawing 847 human survivors from a 600-year sleep. Admiral Dayun, the ship's AI, assesses the current situation and determines humanity's civilization has fallen. Lieutenant Jae Hwan awakens to find himself the highest-ranking conscious officer. He struggles to comprehend the time elapsed. Minseo and her engineering team discover the ship sustained critical damage in an ancient battle and has been self-repairing for centuries. Kryn forces outside begin aggressive attempts to breach the hull, viewing the awakening ship as a threat. The Eternal Horizon's defense systems activate automatically, vaporizing 2 Kryn gunships with weapons technology the galaxy has never seen. Panic spreads across Kryn communication networks. The human warship is alive. Jae Hwan makes contact with the Kryn forces, attempting diplomacy, but cultural and linguistic barriers cause misunderstanding. The part ends with the Eternal Horizon breaking free from its geological prison and rising into orbit. Its massive frame blotting out the sun. Part 3. The galaxy's fear key characters. New High Counselor Yoon-ji, leader of the Galactic Coalition. Diplomatic but fearful General Wu Jin, Kryn military commander. Aggressive and territorial Jiho, human communications specialist. Becomes the bridge between humanity and the galaxy. Plot points. News of the awakened human supercarrier spreads across the galaxy within hours through quantum communication networks. Ancient records are hastily reviewed. Historians uncover fragmented legends of the old war, where humans fought an unknown enemy. The Galactic Coalition convenes an emergency session. Species representatives debate whether to destroy the ship preemptively. High Counselor Yoon-ji argues for caution, noting that humans never attacked other species in historical records. General Wu Jin demands military action, viewing humanity's advanced technology as an existential threat to current galactic powers aboard the Eternal Horizon. Jae Hwan and his crew struggle to understand what happened. To Earth and humanity, Jiho intercepts galactic communications and realizes the modern galaxy fears them. Doan reveals classified information. Humanity was fighting an extra-dimensional threat called the Void, and Earth was sacrificed to seal the breach. The crew discovers they are potentially the last surviving humans in the universe. 3 Galactic Coalition. Fleets converge on Kryn space to intercept the Eternal Horizon. Jae Hwan makes a fateful decision. Rather than hide, they will broadcast their story to the entire galaxy. The part ends with the First Fleet opening fire, and the Eternal Horizon demonstrating why human military engineering was legendary. Part 4. Demonstration of power key characters. New, Captain Subin, fighter wing commander. Fierce and protective of her pilots. Dr. Young-ho, xenobiologist awakened from stasis. Fascinated by modern galactic species. Sora, teenage civilian awakened from cryosleep. Represents humanity's future. Plot points. The Eternal Horizon faces 3 fleets totaling over 400 ships with its mere 200. Operational crew and damaged systems. Captain Subin launches 60 fighters from the carriers as human starfighters that move with speed and agility modern ships cannot match. The battle becomes a demonstration rather than a slaughter. Jae-hwan orders precise strikes that disable enemy ships without destroying them. Galactic forces are shocked as their shields, considered state-of-the-art, prove ineffective against human plasma weapons. Minseo implements emergency repairs mid-battle, showcasing human engineering adaptability. Dr. Young-ho analyzes captured galactic technology and realizes modern civilizations have stagnated technologically. During a brief ceasefire, Ji-ho manages to establish clear communication with High Counselor Yoon-ji. Jae-hwan shares humanity's history. They were guardians who fought to protect this galaxy from the void 600 years ago. Young civilians like Sora broadcast messages of peace, showing that humans are not monsters but survivors. General Woo Jin attempts a covert attack during negotiations, but Da-yoon predicts and counters it perfectly. The Eternal Horizon jumps to an empty system, inviting only diplomatic vessels to follow. The part ends with Yoon-ji boarding the human supercarrier, the first alien to do so in over 600 years. Part 5 New Dawn plot points. High Counselor Yoon-ji tours the Eternal Horizon and witnesses the remnants of human civilization. Through shared memories and recovered data, the modern galaxy learns the truth about the Void War. Humanity sacrificed itself to seal dimensional breaches. Buying the galaxy time to evolve and develop, Jae-hwan reveals that the seals are weakening. Da-yoon detected anomalies that suggest the void could return within decades. The galaxy faces a choice: fear the humans or ally with them against the coming darkness. General Woo Jin's faction attempts a final assault using forbidden antimatter weapons, but defecting Kryn officers warn the humans Subin's fighters intercept the attack. And Jae-hwan makes a powerful statement by destroying only the weapons, sparing all lives. The Galactic Coalition votes to extend full citizenship and alliance to humanity. Minseo begins sharing human technology gradually, jump-starting a new era of galactic advancement. Dr. Young-ho establishes the first human-alien research institute aboard the Eternal Horizon Sora, and other young humans begin learning about the modern galaxy. Preparing to integrate, Ji-ho becomes humanity's first ambassador, bridging 600 years of isolation. The story concludes with the Eternal Horizon being designated as humanity's new home and the flagship of a joint defense initiative. Da-yoon detects the first signs of a void incursion at the galaxy's edge. Jae-hwan addresses a mixed human-alien crew. Humanity didn't die. We were just sleeping. And now we have a galaxy to protect, together. Epilogue 6 months later. Human survivors have grown to 3,000 as more cryopods successfully revive. The Eternal Horizon leads a new fleet composed of human and alien vessels. Ancient human military installations across forgotten worlds begin awakening. The galaxy prepares for the Void's return, but this time humanity won't fight alone. Final image. The Eternal Horizon jumps into hyperspace, followed by 1,000 ships bearing the emblem of the United Species Defense Coalition. Themes: sacrifice and legacy. Fear of the unknown versus cooperation. Humanity's resilience and adaptability. The price of advanced technology. Building bridges across time and culture. Hope in the face of extinction. Tone. Military science fiction with hopeful undertones. Emphasis on human ingenuity and determination. Balanced action sequences with diplomatic tension. Respectful portrayal of alien species while showcasing human exceptionalism. Epic scale with intimate character moments.